The program is still this morning on ITV on independent television. Yesterday we saw the governors of the 17 states in the South meeting in Asaba, the capital of Delta State, and of course discussing a whole lot, most especially as it relates to security in the South and of course in the Southeast region. Now, one good thing that came out from that meeting is the fact that a 12-point communique we have reached, and of course we also understand that the president had to approve some of the measures that are being suggested in that communique. And as it stands now, the president has promised that those measures will be looked into so that the issue of insecurity in the South region and in the Southeast region will be a thing of the past. Now, in as much as some persons have actually canvassed for secession, that's why if you see the topic that we're going to be talking about today, we're going to be looking at Nigeria's insecurity, secession, and also finding lasting solutions. In as much as also that we don't support a secession, we don't support secession here in independent television and radio. But one thing that I had to pull out yesterday and even today is what the governors said after the meeting. And they said that the governors in the South region came up with the 12-point communique, and they said that they affirmed that the people of the southern Nigeria remains committed to the unity of Nigeria on the basis of justice, fairness, equity, and oneness, and peaceful coexistence between and among its peoples, with a focus on the attainment of shared goals for economic development and prosperity. Now, let's look at the word remain committed to the basis of fairness, remain committed to one Nigeria on the basis of fairness and also equity. That goes to show that the governors in one unison does not support secession. So that should be a focal reference point for us all as Nigerians out there, that the issue of secession is not something that we should even think about as an alternative to solving the insecurity situation in the country. What to discuss this morning and some of other things that we're going to be looking at, we had to call Dr. Mrs. Stella Omonigo again. She was with me last week, so it's more or less a continuation of where we stopped last week. Madam, you're welcome to this program this morning.
Thank you, Mr. Evans. Good morning, viewers at home.
Thank you so much for having time for us again this morning. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Now, the meeting yesterday, 12-point communicate, if you like, agenda now were reached and handed down to the president. The president looked at the measures and said that he's approving the measures. Some of the measures, is that a general a national meeting, so to say now, should be convoked by the president so that we can talk about security. Dialogue. And there's one most especially that struck me, that the idea of conveying cattle in large quantities from the north in a kind of a vehicle should be something that should be put stop to. And also that cattle should not be escorted, even on foot, from the north to the south. That's open grazing is not something that should be encouraged at all. Those were some of the factors that they talked about. Now, for most people, they kind of see this South meeting by the governors as one that is good, but is coming but too late. I don't know what your reactions are on that.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Evans. Let me first of all congratulate our Muslim brothers and sisters on the celebration of the Eid al-Fitr. Having said that, we've been talking about this case of insecurity in the nation, and I think that it cannot be overemphasized. I want to thank God that gradually our leaders are coming to the realization that if they don't face this problem, it will get to their doorsteps, just as we have seen playing out in recent times with the robbery that took place at Asu Rock. First of all, what came to my mind is, why is it that it's now that the southern governors came together after such a long time? At last they were able to sit down, they were able to meet, and they were able to come out with a communique. Beautiful. And then when I looked at the content of the communique too, I found out that they tried as much as possible to kind of suggest solutions to the problems of insecurity in this nation, if the general leadership would accept most of the content of the communique, which luckily for us, you know, our president said he would want to adopt. I just hope that there is sincerity in that declaration. Having said that, be that as it may, if you look at the content of the communique one after the other, one thing that struck me is that it is not that we don't have a solution to the problem of insecurity in this country. It is not that our leaders do not know exactly how to solve the problem of insecurity in this nation. I think the problem we are having is this problem of insincerity, and maybe some sacred cows that are involved in this matter of security in this nation. When we looked at the 12 points in the communique of yesterday, starting from the affirmation of the Southern government, of the Southern governor, saying that, look, we are ready to coexist, but on these conditions. And what are the conditions? They talked about fairness. Fairness in appointment. When you are giving appointment, it should reflect federal characters. It should not reflect only a certain region of the country or a certain religion in the country. It should go round. Fairness in all ramifications. Fairness in the sense that when you are talking about funding, you don't take the riches of land A to go and develop land Z while land A is in penury. Fairness in all ramifications. If the federal government or if the federal leadership is ready to adhere to this fairness and think we can talk about coexistence. But in a situation whereby you are trying to coexist with somebody and the person does not want to live at peace with you, let me tell you, it is not what is happening in Nigeria is not the first time it's happening. It has even happened in the times of old. In the Bible, let me refer us back to the Bible. When there was problem, when the servants of Lot and the servants of Abraham were coexisting, and there were problems between them, God actually agreed that they should go their separate ways. If these people are not ready to live at peace, why not go their separate way? We are just living, I feel we are living in denial. I feel our leaders are also living in denial. You are forcing us to coexist with people who do not want to coexist with us, because I do not see any reason why taking lives and properties, you know, do not mean anything to these people. They kill somebody at the sight of blood. I can even pass out. But now they kill anybody at will. Job seekers at will. Things are terrible things. In fact, unimaginable things are going on in the country, and we're saying we should coexist. No. Let me tell you, my brother, in as much as some people don't believe in this separation, in this secession, I feel that it is high time, just like the governor said yesterday, for a federal dialogue to be called. There was a time there was a federal dialogue like that, confab. Up to today, the communique brought out from the confab that cost Nigerians billions of naira. Up to now, they've not been able to implement it. Now we are calling for another federal dialogue, but it is high time we called that federal dialogue, because we need to sit down, call the leaders of these regions and ask us if we are ready to coexist. If we are not ready to coexist, then we go our separate ways, and then we sign treaty on how to go about it.
Okay. Now, if you take a look at some of the issues we are talking about now, talking about the insecurity in the country, one is almost tempted to ask the question. Perhaps what is going on in Nigeria is more complex than it seems, because for some, people, they will tell you that the intrusion of foreigners into the country is one big problem that Nigeria is not taking cognizance of. You have, as it has been alleged, you have a lot of Nigerians into Nigeria, a lot of Malians into Nigeria, and some of these elements are people perpetrating these, heinous crimes. Now, if we talk of national dialogue, we talk of on the basis of living together that it has to be peace and harmony and all that. Now, we still have this problem of people intruding into the country. Can we find a lasting peace?
We can if we are sincere, and we can if all Nigerians are sincere. We ourselves, citizens of Nigeria, are living in denial. Why do I say so? Everybody has his or her own job. Securing of borders is a job meant for a set of persons, for immigration. Policing is meant for a particular set of persons. Teaching of citizens
So we all have our job, just like you have your job. It's in a situation whereby I turn away my eyes from my job, pretending that I'm not seeing. Meanwhile, things are going wrong. Then it's insincerity and it is wickedness. And these people should be called to order. Our borders are porous, whether we like it or not. I say it emphatically on TV this morning that our borders are porous. Let me tell you, when you talk about having passport to travel or to go in and out of the country, in Seme border there, that I know very well, 700 naira Okada, anybody can come into Nigeria. It is just for them to enter 700 naira, and then the Okada man will settle the immigration, the people there, with 500 naira. Anybody can enter the country with Seme border. At least I have been to Seme border several times. If you doubt me, let them focus on Seme border. You see people coming in with bike without anybody checking. Once you just give them the 500 naira, and I'm sure that that is what is happening at the other borders, especially in the northern part of Nigeria, where we see most of these people that we are believing are maybe from Niger and maybe from Cameroon coming into the country to kill people. And let me tell you, I also think that these people carrying out this mayhem on Nigeria, Nigerians are not Nigerians, because if they are actually Nigerians, there is no way, it will not pain them a little. But let me tell you, when a foreigner comes in, a foreigner will not want another country to do better than him or her. A foreigner will not want you to do better. They've told you that Nigeria is giant of Africa. Do you think that it's all nations in Africa that are happy about it? Now these people, you leave them, they keep on pouring. We even see them on TV. We see the social media, broadcast of people coming in with bikes and everything. The question is, who are the people who are supposed to secure our borders? What are they doing? Are they on their duty post? It is high time Nigerians call these people to answer some questions, because I do not see any reason why. Let me tell you, some of these people, I've seen them on the streets of Benin. When they are talking, most of them are shoemakers, some of them are Okada riders, some of them are keke riders. When you speak English to them, they don't understand English. When you speak French to them, they understand French. And that is a clear indication that they are not Nigerians. Then how did they come in? Now, if you ask them about their immigration papers, they will not be able to show them. So how did they come in? So people should start doing their job. If you do your job very well as an immigration officer, the security agent does his job very well as a police officer, the army does his job very well as an army officer, I think this insecurity situation will be checkmate within 1 week. But the problem is that we are so insincere and we are just being wicked to ourselves. Do you know why? Because I have a very strong feeling that there are so many people who are benefiting from this state of insecurity in Nigeria. We have people who are benefiting from the supply of arms. We have people who are benefiting from taking of bribes from these people who give them every day from their proceeds of crime. We have people who are benefiting in several ways from this insecurity, and that's why you see that they keep on fueling it, they keep on sponsoring it, because it is a lucrative business to them.
Okay. Now, some of the communiques that we told you about, we have about 12 of them, from 1 to 12. Now, there's this particular one that I just want us to see. And it says that agree that the progress of the nation requires that urgent and bold steps be taken to restructure Nigeria. The Federation leading to the evolution of state police, a review of revenue allocation formula in favor of the sub-national government and creation of other institutions, yes, which legitimately advance our commitment to and practice of true federalism. Now, I want us to focus on the revenue allocation formula. Now, you talked about the 2014 confab.
Yes.
It was in 2005 that we had a confab in this country that gave rise to the sharing of the revenue. That's the revenue allocation formula that we operate with today. Now, for most people, they see that if we go back to start trying to redress, trying to address the issue of the allocation formula, we may not have time, because as we speak now, the issue of insecurity, it's so immediate that we must attend to it now. So if we start looking at all this, do we really have time to do all this?
We have time, and the time is now. If between yesterday and today there had been an emergency meeting called for people to come and let them start revisiting this thing, before 6 a.m. this morning, they will have taken decisions. Let me tell you,
these are legal issues.
I'm telling you,
these are legislations.
That is why they are being paid.
It may involve the National Assembly.
Mr. Evans, that is why they are being paid millions
over and over and over. And
that is why they are being paid 52 million naira for sitting. If I'm being paid,
no, you are not a member of the National Assembly.
If I'm being paid, 1 million naira to work, if they call me by 12 midnight, I will go and work. Now you cannot be earning so much and you want to do it in your comfort zone when the country is on fire. In fact, the thing, what I'm asking is, what is our patriotism? How can we say that we are patriotic when we feel at ease in our comfort zones, we feel at ease in our homes, knowing fully well that we have people we are paying to secure us, we don't care what happens to people who voted us in, and then such a thing came up, such a vital information came up yesterday, such a vital communique came up yesterday, and people are not adding their voices to the voices of the southern governors to call the federal government, to call House of Assembly, to call National Assembly quickly to meet concerning this thing. Then that is why I'm saying that we are in the highest level of insincerity in Nigeria. And you know, this I don't care matter. After all, my family is not here. That is what is happening to us. Between yesterday night and this morning, if actually we are sincere, we will have been able to take several major decisions. Now, in that communique too, having talked about the funding system, all you need to do, like I said before, you have people who have specific areas they are to be talking about. All they need to do is to call the Minister of Finance. They need to call the Minister of Internal Affairs. They need to call the Minister of Defense, and then they have a roundtable discussion before this morning. And they will not be hearing on news this morning the follow-up of a meeting held last night as a result of the communique of the southern governors yesterday. But no, everybody went to sleep. Everybody went to sleep, saying that whatever wants to happen to Nigeria today can go on and happen. It's not. That is the unpatriotic attitude of some of our leaders. Yeah, but
I think we need to keep our fingers crossed. The meeting was held only yesterday, and immediately the president, approved some of the measures. So why don't we be patient?
Now, the question I want to also ask is that what is the place of executive order? What is the place of executive? Because I also know that in the Constitution, there is a provision for an executive order, in the sense that when you see a particular thing going out of hand, the presidency has the right to use executive order to call some things into place before calling Federal Executive Council meeting. Now, if that's why I'm saying that if actually this thing, if we take Nigerian problems as our personal problem, the way it is hurting Nigerians, we'll be able to take some of these executive orders while calling immediately. In fact, before they even call a Federal Executive Council meeting, the members will have started going straight to Asuro to say that I'm sure there will be a meeting as a result of what happened last night. That not alone. I want us to see it in several ways. Now, in that communique also, they talked about the importance of the president addressing the country. We have been hearing for the past 3 weeks that our president has been going into security meetings with security officers, agents. Thank you. We are very grateful. But the question is, what has been the outcome of that meeting, of those meetings since? I've not seen so far, because immediately after one security meeting, we'll hear that they struck again. Let me tell you, Nigerians, for them to be able to strike, to get entrance into Asu Rock, and to succeed in emptying the Chief of Staff's office, we have a very major grandfather problem. Why do I say so? Where are the CCTV cameras? Where are the security agencies who were supposed to be on duty that day? Was it that the CCTV cameras suddenly went off? Was it that there was suddenly a power outage? Was it that all the security agents went to sleep, or all of them went to toilet at the same time?
Anyway,
what happened?
Let us don't
let me tell you, sir,
because investigations are ongoing.
Look, this investigation, if we are sincere, by now they will have released CCTV footage.
Anyway, now
these people are not faceless, sir. These unknown known men that we are talking, because I don't call them unknown gunmen. They are unknown known men that they keep on telling us every day. They bring out a new nomenclature for them. These are people that walk along the streets, that people know.
You talked about the president addressing the nation as an aftermath of what the governors are requesting for, that a national dialogue should be convoked. Now, what do you want the president to tell the nation?
Well, I see it this way. When I saw the communique yesterday, I was like, what would the president tell us again? He has spoken before. Were we satisfied? But I see it this way. I'm in my house as a mother. and then maybe robbers come to the house, the children will be expecting me to be expecting my voice to say, my children, don't worry, everything is in place. Police is coming. We are going to do this, we are going to do that. That will give the children a kind of security. And that is how I see it, the relationship between the president and the citizens. Now, things are going wrong by the day. We have not heard any statements concerning the kidnapped Greenfield students from the presidency. I have not heard. Well,
but the students have been released.
Hold on. We have not heard anything about this job seeker that was killed. I'm talking about from the
investigation is ongoing.
Oh, look, let me tell you. There's something about sense of hope when the president speaks. There's something about sense of future when the president speaks. Not when you are quiet. All we hear is people telling us that you are meeting with security agents, or people telling us that this is what the president said. No, you come out and tell us.
Don't you think that there is something about some Nigerians that we are probably not saying here, with the way some Nigerians perceive what the president says? I remember during the NSAS protests, people called for the president to speak up and all that, and he was on the national telly and he spoke to Nigerians, and Nigerians got to know some of the issues, the things, some of the measures that the presidency wants to take in order to ameliorate some of the issues. Now, let us also talk to ourselves as Nigerians. Don't you think we also need to change the way we perceive what the president tells us?
See, let me tell you, a leader should be ready to take anything from the citizens. A leader should not expect the citizens to always, in fact, let me tell you, for any leader who expects people to be clapping rank-a-day for him or her at all times, that leader is in trouble. That means that all you just want to hear is false, false, false. A leader should be ready to hear both praises and criticisms. Now, when the president spoke to us that time, a lot of people said a lot of things. We have a right of freedom of expression. Now, as a good leader, when you say something, you listen to feedback. From the feedback, you'll be able to know there are some feedbacks that are very malicious. In fact, let me tell you, as a successful leader, when you listen to those malicious feedbacks, you'll be able to know how to adjust and how to play your game better, how to work better, so as not to fall into such mistakes next time. But when you see any feedback being given to you as a kind of antagonism that must be punished, then there's a problem. A leader should be, we are in a democratic setting, my brother. We are not in an autocratic state. This is a democratic state. And so you should allow people to air their views. You are at the top there. You may not know how the shoe pinches that person below. So when that person below starts talking to you, the person is ranting. Why don't you listen to the ranting? Because out of every nonsense, there is a sense. And as a good leader, if you want to be successful, you will be able to listen to the sense in the nonsense, and you'll be able to amend your ways. Let me tell you, out of that communique, they were talking about community policing. And they were talking about state government being given, the authority to be able to run, run their states. Yeah. Very good. For some time now, we have seen what has happened in Edo State, for example, and all thanks to our governor, who created this vigilante group. And this vigilante group decided to work with communities, individuals, and by the grace of God, they've been able to apprehend a lot of kidnappers and a lot of criminals in the state. And it has also sent a kind of signal to all other criminals or intending criminals that it is not business as usual, that there are people who are watching who may not necessarily be on uniform, that we have community policing, and that you see that, the insecurity situation in the state is now dancing down. Good. Now, this is the measure he has put into place. Now, give them the autonomy to run this and then also fund it. Not that you say, okay, you can go and protect yourselves. Sanctioning of criminals in states is not the work of it's not the work of federal government. You just throw statements anyhow without considering the feelings of your citizens who voted you in. It is not right, and it is not fair. So I think that what the federal government should be doing now, and all in leadership, all politicians, all political parties, all political leaders, what they should be thinking of now is to look at those 12-point communique yesterday, and even more, and see how we can profile very fast a lasting solution with all sincerity to the insecurity situation of this country.
Okay. Now, in as much as the 17 South and Southeast governors have said that they don't support a secession, some Nigerians out there probably still think that the best way to go now is for us to go our ways. Doctor, I don't know what's your own reaction to
you
that.
See me.
You think we should be thinking along that line?
You see, when I started, I referred us back to the Bible. Look, if a neighbor is always speaking quarrels with you and always fighting with you, what do you do?
When you say neighbor, who don't you
No,
think
let us start
we
with,
as Nigerians, we are the one quarreling with ourselves now?
In what
so
way?
in
When
that
we
situation,
have, let me tell you, okay, like I said, a neighbor is always speaking quarrels with you. The next thing said, I'm looking for house. You try, and if the house is not your permanent residence, you try and look for another place to rent.
Who are our neighbors in this case?
No, wait. I'm bringing a point.
Yeah.
Now, in this case, we have a more serious problem. Now, when a neighbor now goes about bringing another person from another street or maybe from another state to come and beat you up in that neighborhood, you know that your life is at stake. You know that you are more at risk. Now, it is no longer conflict between you and your neighbor, but now conflict between you and an outsider. Now, what you are trying to say, we have been able to establish.
Yeah, if I follow your analogy, but don't you think even the neighbor you are referring to, in this case now, is also helpless? I mean, we even hear more of the banditry in the north. Most northerners are helpless. I mean, they are helpless. So when we try to say that, okay, they are probably the ones, you know, aiding and abetting some of these heinous crimes that we're talking about, I think we need to watch it
Once upon a time, a senator of this country said that these demons you are recruiting will come after you. Once upon a time, names withheld, a senator in this country sounded a note of warning on the floor of the house that day and said, look, these people we are patronizing will come after us someday. Now, this is what I'm seeing. I'm seeing a kind of game change. If you notice very well, I remember vividly last week, the chief bandits in Kaduna said that until the state governor addresses them, they were not going to release those students. Without any prejudice, I don't know the relationship between them and the state governor, but they were very emphatic that they wanted him to come and address them, that he had stopped talking to them. So which means that there was a time that there was communication. My point is this: when you will be hiring thugs to be going after your enemies, when you refuse to meet the demands of these your thugs, they will come after you.
But don't you think that at times some of these alleged bandits, you know, they even complicate the issues by overblowing some of the issues out of proportion? I mean, for a chief bandit, like what you said, you know, telling the state governor that until he comes to address them, that they will succumb, it probably suggests that the state governor knows where they are. But don't you think, do you think that is really the case?
My people at home, don't they know where they are? A sheikh in this country,
you can't
Sheikh
say
Gumi.
so.
No, please, it was on the news, so don't worry, don't be afraid, sir.
No, I'm not. Why would I be afraid of?
Sheikh Gumi in this country told us that he knew where they were. He took photographs with them while they were bowing down to him. They videoed him while he negotiated with them. He told federal government, go and give them XY amount, or if not, something like this will happen. He had been giving us warnings upon warning. So he's been a kind of, you know, a go-between between Nigerians and these people. So they know them. It's not that that's why I call them unborn no men. They know them very well. They are people. They live with them. They live in their houses, so they know them. They are not faceless, my brother, and they are not nameless. This man had gone with them, met with them, sat with them, dined with them. Now, the question I will now ask him from those meetings, from Sheikh Gumi's meetings with these people, is it that what these people are doing is good? Because I think a government can only negotiate with such persons if what they are doing is not criminal. Because I do not see any reason why somebody who has taken lives, for whatever reasons, will be negotiated for, to be paid a particular amount of money or ransom.
Doctor, if you make
by
reference
those
to that
in authority.
time, if we take our mind back to what happened in Kaduna State, talking about the Greenfield student, the governor of the state there said that they don't negotiate, that he won't negotiate with bandits, and of course he did not.
Yes, I give him kudos for that. But the question is, was there no communication before then? What happened that now the communication ceased? And that this Sheikh Gumi that comes up every day on a daily basis to talk about these people and their needs, what has the federal government done about them? If they actually want to apprehend these people, all they need to do is to tell Sheikh Gumi, lead us to where these people are. Unless you are telling me that federal government applauds and approves what they are doing. Because I do not see any reason whatsoever where they will have killed 5 people, and then you are telling us that I've met with them. Now they say people should come and pay. I think you should pay. It is ridiculous. And it can only be heard in Nigeria. It can only be heard in Nigeria.
Anyway, I think the South governors and the Southeast governors met yesterday, just like what was said, and the communique, the presidency is looking into it, and the president has approved that, okay, some of the measures in the communique is something that he approved. So let's see how those measures are going to start unfolding in the next couple of days. Now, Doctor, as we wind up now, what do you think should be the last things we should start thinking of? Because by the day, it appears that the insecurity is mounting at the risk of not trying to, aggravate the situation and all that. But it appears the insecurity situation is mounting.
So my thoughts are in 2 ways. My thoughts go to my fellow citizens of the country, and then also to our leaders and workers, or those, the custodian of security in this country. Let me start by telling my people at home that, look, we need to keep hope alive, and we need to be watchful. We need to be careful. We need to be at alert. Go and get yourself a whistle. Let everybody be a whistleblower. Let everybody be watchful. Be careful where you go, what you say, and watch out. And there is room for self-defense. We have come to know in the Constitution now that self-defense is not a crime. Secondly, I would like to talk to the conscience of custodians of security. You swore an oath of office to protect lives and properties. And if you turn your back against the citizens of the country you have sworn an oath for, that oath will come against you. The land of Nigeria will speak against those who are allowing on a daily basis the blood of Nigerian citizens to be shed. That's all.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Mrs. Stella Monigo there. When you take a look into what is going on, you cannot but talk in a religious manner. I was speaking with somebody last night, and the person noticed that in everything I said, I kept mentioning God, God, God. Then he now asked me, what about you? What are you doing? Don't you think you have a role to play?
Yes.
So that seems to be the situation in our country today. But God has a plan, and we must also ensure that we do our own bit so as to help the situation in our country. Doctor, thank you so much for finding time.
Thank you so much for having me.
The program is still this morning on ITV. We'll take a short pause now for all the segments. Please stay tuned.